Hello, everyone, and welcome to the K&B Music Den. I am Keith, and I wanted to do a new additions to the Den video. I believe this is only the second one I've ever done. I haven't been purchasing a whole lot lately. In fact, I'm doing just the opposite very soon. I'm going to be moving soon, and a good friend of mine is going to be selling some of my records online for me. So I've kind of gotten to the point with my collection where if I have an album on compact disc and vinyl, unless it's like rare or has extra tracks or is like among my all-time favorite albums, the vinyl, copies are selling pretty well right now. So I'm going to lean towards keeping more of my CDs and selling off some of my vinyl. Obviously, I'm still going to have a ton left. But basically, the way I'm looking at it is if I have the same album in two different formats and everything you can do through your phone nowadays, just trying to trim it down, make a little money. Won't be a bad thing either. But so that's kind of the approach I'm taking. So I haven't really been doing too much shopping lately, but inevitably, I always end up back in a record store at some point and, had to pull the trigger on some of these good prices and good additions to my collection. So I guess we'll get started here. I'm going to try and go through these quickly, although I tend to be a little long-winded, so I'm going to challenge myself here. I got two records and actually a little stack of CDs. So let's just do the records first. This was by far the most expensive, but not that it's not unreasonably priced for what it is at all, but this is the only item I really got today that was of any sort of, cost. And it is the most recent album from Eels, Extreme Witchcraft. I remember when I first heard this, I was like, oh, cool, Eels has a new album. And I was kind of had a surface knowledge and interest in Eels. I always thought, really cool stuff, but just never did a full deep dive for some reason. And when I heard this, I was like, wow. And then I just went back and started getting some of his other stuff on CD. And my gosh, so good. If you're not too familiar with Eels, this new one is fantastic. There's other ones you could start with. Off the top of my head, Electroshock Blues is one that's highly regarded. Daisies of the Galaxy. So many. Blinking Lights is a double album, which is mind-blowing. But yeah, Extreme Witchcraft, as you can see, just bought it today. Still has the hype sticker on there, still in the shrink wrap. So I look forward to spinning that one soon here. And the only other vinyl record that I purchased earlier today, actually, Brad, the B of K&B Music Den, did his very first, can you believe it, his very first solo video last week. I'm so proud of him. I've been bugging him for months. And he did his top 5 Leon Russell albums. He's been obsessed with him lately. So I was in a different store today, and the only thing I bought there was this, Will-O-The-Wisp. Considered one of his best albums. I was just spinning it before I started this video. Listen to the first side. Great. Now, the funny thing is what I was saying earlier about my collection. Well, it's kind of silly to have the record and the CD unless it's like, something super special or extra tracks or, that sort of thing. So, and the other thing about my collection, this may sound strange, but some of you may relate to this. I don't want to forget any of the artists that I like. So I always try to have at least one physical copy, whether it be the vinyl record or CD, of everyone that I like, just to remind me that, I like them and they exist. Because, of course, nowadays the rest of the discography you can pull up right on your phone and all that. But the funny thing is of all the fantastic Leon Russell albums, the only thing by him I already owned in my collection as a physical copy, you know what's coming, Will-O-The-Wisp. So I just said 5 minutes ago that I am trying to eliminate doubles, so to speak, with my collection. And I just bought one today. Hypocrite. Yeah, I have no, I have no defense. I have no explanation. Did I forget that I had Will o' the Wisp on CD when I bought this? I could cop out and say that. No, I knew I had it on CD. But it was such a good price on that record. And I've been really into Leon lately with, because of Brad's video. Go check out Brad's first solo video if you haven't seen it, by the way. His top 5 Leon Russell albums. So now let's get into the stack of CDs. Some of these, I have a list on my phone. I think I mentioned this before, that I have a list on my phone of what I'm looking for to fill gaps in my collection. Some of these I look at that I purchased today, I'm like, I cannot believe I didn't already own this, especially on CD. So the first one is definitely is in that category. And this is Little Earthquakes by Tori Amos. How could I not have already had this in my collection? Shameful, I know, but I righted the wrong today. Considered one of her, if not her best album. So, and again, this is a great example. I don't think I'm looking over at my A's over here. Yeah, oddly enough, I don't have a single album physical copy of Tori Amos, which is what I wanted to correct. Again, I like her. I enjoy her music, and I want to have something in my collection to just remind me, oh, here's someone you like. So now I have it, Tori Amos, Little Earthquakes. Next, With a Heavy Heart, David Crosby. If I Could Only Remember My Name, his solo debut album. Now, when he passed away, I listened to this in my car through my phone, and this is regarded his masterpiece, and found it very good price used today, in great shape. So this was a no-brainer. It was jumped right off the shelf at me today. So now, of course, I have Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. I have Crosby and Nash. I have Crosby, Stills, Nash. Vinyl, CD. But I'm pretty sure I don't, until now, own just a solo David Crosby album in physical format. I rated that wrong today, too. So another one where I'm pretty sure I don't have a physical copy till today of this artist, who is a big favorite of 2 of my close friends, Jim and Dez. They are from my group of friends in New Jersey. They are huge on Ani DeFranco. And this is one of her best-known albums, Not a Pretty Girl. So I found this for a good price, in great shape. So again, this reminds me when I look through all my stuff, oh yeah, I like her, and then you can pull up the other albums on your phone, that sort of thing. But I always like to have that physical copy. I know I keep repeating myself, but that's my theme. So now this one is a gentleman that needs no introduction, but I'm slowly but surely starting to get everything he's ever done on either vinyl or CD. More CDs of this guy than I have of vinyl, but I do have several on vinyl. The Debut by Bob Dylan. Now, I'm pretty sure this is mostly cover songs, which, of course, you think of Bob Dylan as the master songwriter. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is a lot of standards and covers. But I have so many of his other albums that, to me, it's like, just had to add it to the collection. So it's got the nice price sticker that they used to have back in the day. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to leave that on there. So, yep, solo self-titled debut from Mr. Zimmerman. Now, here is, well, we saw the album earlier, the newest album. This is Eels. Now, I've been really wanting to get this DVD, Live at Town Hall, where he plays with strings. I've seen some of the clips on YouTube. Absolutely incredible. So I very, very rarely buy live albums. My thing is, if I'm going to hear something live, I want to see it too. I want the DVD. I'd prefer not to have just live audio, which I know I'm missing out on a lot of stuff. And I know that there's live versions of things. And, there's a lot of artists where people say, well, they're way better live than they ever do in the studio and all that stuff. This is a great example. I saw this for a good price, and I was like, you know what? Hopefully someday I will find the DVD. But in the meantime, I think this will fill that void, so to speak. So this is just an outstanding collection of songs, right, that he did with the strings. So yep, added that to the collection today as well. Here is another great example of one that I cannot believe I didn't already own. I have a couple other CDs by this band, but didn't have, you know, arguably their most successful album. And this is Extreme, the album Porno Graffiti. Obviously the big hit, More Than Words, the ballad. Wholehearted is on here as well, which is another hit. But yeah, I have three sides of this, to a story, or of the story, or whatever, and another one of theirs that I have over there. And this, you know, the one that most people would have if they only had one was the one I didn't have. So, righted that wrong again today. So, happy about that. Now, there's a channel, it's called, of course, you guys know, the vinyl community. They call it the VC. Technically, our channel isn't in the VC per se, because it's more of just a discussion channel than, you know, it's you know, super hyper focused on vinyl itself and all the subtleties and all the but you know, in a lot of ways we do the same things that they do on some of the vinyl community channels, which I watch constantly all the time. I'm so entertained and inspired by a lot of these guys. One of those guys is Chris Prophe, Propfe, Chris Prophe, and his channel is called Chris Prophe Musically Obsessed. Very, very cool. Great channel. A guy that you would want to go out and have a beer with and just talk about music. But the reason I mention him, and please, you know, go sub his channel, he mentioned that he really loves this album, and I know he loves this artist, Janis Ian. The album's called God and the FBI. So I typed it on the list on my phone. I was like, oh, Chris likes that one. It's a later one of hers. It's from later in her career. And he really speaks highly of it. So I'm like, if I ever find it used, you know, in good shape, I'll get it. And the only Janis Ian, I think they had 2 Janis Ian albums on used CD in this huge store that I go to. And this was one of them, God and the FBI. So I was like, yes, score. Marked it off my list. So I'm going to check this one out. Looking forward to it. This one is Jack's Mannequin. Andrew McMahon is the singer of this. I also have an Andrew McMahon album over here, back here. He's a great singer, piano player. Pretty sure, I hope I don't get this wrong, I'm pretty sure he was the lead singer of the band Something Corporate before he went, you know, on to other projects as he, you know, got older. I pulled the Andrew McMahon here. There it is. Had that ready to show here. Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness. This is something else he did as well. Really cool stuff. So check that out. Okay, now this one, I can't remember where I heard of this gentleman. It might have been one of those, if you like this, then you'll like this kind of things on my Apple Music. Or it might have been something from one of the channels that I watched that someone pointed out this guy who I hadn't heard of. But David Mead. Okay. And this album's called Mine and Yours. I actually listened to it on the way home in the car. Straight ahead pop rock. He has an album called Indiana, which I was trying to find. That's the one I had listed in my phone. They had it. They actually had Indiana at the store, but it was scratched up. I was like, oh, crap. So they had this one that was clean. I was like, well, I'll get this one. So I think Indiana, is a little more stripped down and more kind of my style. This is, you know, unapologetic pop. But fantastic voice, and for what it is, it's extremely well done, and I did enjoy listening to it in the car today on the way home. So David Mead, check him out if you're not familiar. I wasn't until recently. So the band from the 90s, I had heard of this band. I'm sure whatever the single is on here, that when I end up listening to this, I will be like, oh yeah, I know that song. But kind of an underappreciated band from what I remember hearing, and was on my list and found it today. The band Naked. That's their self-titled. This is from 1997, I believe. 90s rock, good stuff. So I was able to find this one today. So it was a good day. It's a good haul. I'm almost through here. I found this, and I don't know. I know about this album, and I don't have it on vinyl. I have a couple of his other ones, a few of his other ones on vinyl. But Todd Rundgren, and this is considered one of his best, Something Anything. Now, this is interesting to me because it comes as 2 discs. See there, disc 1. Oops, sorry about the glare, folks. I don't even know if that's backwards what you're seeing there, but in disc 2. So I mean, I'm not as familiar with the packaging, and to me, this looks, for example, like Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life. I have 2 CDs, and they're 2 separate CDs. It's not like a double case. It's not. So this, to me, was kind of uniquely packaged, to my knowledge. So I thought that was cool. But again, you know, good price, great shape, which is the main thing. So Todd Rundgren, that's definitely one of his that I've been trying to find in some format, because it's considered one of his best. And one more, folks, one more CD. I found this, great price. Jonathan Wilson. This is Fanfare. He's from California, singer-songwriter. There's a connection to him and the band Dawes. I think he produced one of their earlier albums, or a couple of them, or worked with them in some way. But yeah, good stuff. This guy's pretty unique. He's got a sound all his own, and I enjoy it. So Jonathan Wilson, I was happy to find that at such a good price today. So there you have it. Got through the CDs and the 2 LPs in 16 minutes and more. Not too bad. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you found lately. If you know any of these artists, or if you don't, and then due to this video you said, hey, I checked that out and I really liked it. That would be so awesome to hear, because that's why we do stuff like this, to share music together. So as I always say, for Brad, who's not here for this video, I'm Keith, and this is the KMB Music Den. Please like the video, share it on social media, smash the bell for notifications. You'll be notified every time we drop new content here on the channel. And please subscribe to the channel. We just climbed over 15,000 total views for the channel, and I think we've been doing it 6 months, 7 months. So that's awesome. More than we ever could have hoped for. And it's over time, it's just naturally going to keep growing. So, so thrilled to do it. And please put in your comments, what haul did you have lately? What records have you bought? What CDs did you buy? How do you feel about the whole, CD vinyl thing? Do you have a lot of doubles in your collection? I know I do, and I'm getting to the point now where I'm like, I think I can make some money on these records. I still have the CDs. I can do things through my phone. Again, there's certain albums I'll never sell. Like, obviously, I'll never sell any of my Ryan Adams. I've got Dawes. I've got Manchester Orchestra. I've got so much stuff. I can't sit here and list it all. But there's certain albums, like, just as a quick example, I was thinking, I have the first 2 Coldplay albums on vinyl, and they're both fantastic. The first one is just so special to me for so many different reasons. And the second one is great, but I have the CD, so I'm thinking I'll probably keep the first one and sell the second one, because it's going for a decent amount of money right now. So so that's kind of where my head is with my collection, and because I'm moving too and trying to downsize. So weigh in on your thoughts on that too. Feel free. So let me know again, like I said, what you've got recently. And again, can't thank you guys enough for all the support. We appreciate it. And we're going to be back with more album reviews, more concepts, and bringing back some of the old concepts too. We're going to be, ranking albums in real time again. I think Stone Temple Pilots is coming up soon for you. So keep an eye out for that as well. Thank you, folks, and we'll see you soon. Take care.